Hey there YouTube, this is Sonic19 coming with you with my Brave deck profile. I've been getting called out on YouTube and Facebook and things like that about my first build for Altmile. Uh, that was just Altmile without the Brave concept. So everyone's getting all crazy for the hype now. So I guess I'll just show you what I used to play for Brave because I had Altmile at the beginning of GR, so I had him throughout the entire run of it, all the way up until Brave. So this is what I have. I'm gonna start with the grade zeros and go up from there. So starting out will be Blinking Knight Milius. I mean, if you know what this deck is, you know what he does already. So that's just a starter. Then I play 4 copies of our V era, G era. I would like to call it critical. When your Vanguard attacks, when Generation Break 1, that's what the red little marker is. Put it into Soul, gain 10k to the Vanguard, draw 1 card. Then I play 4 copies of a Vanilla Crit. 4 stand. Now this stand trigger is a Brave stand, so with the red text, once you place him, and while you're in Brave, once you place him, doesn't matter how many cards you have in your hand, after that he retains the Brave ability to be activated. That's what the red text means. This is why he's a good card. He's a draw and back to the deck. Then I play 4 of the heal trigger. This is the counter charge, soul charge one. If you've been playing for a while, especially back in GR, you should know what these are, what they do. So when you G guard and then you G guard again, if there's another copy of it in the drop zone already, you can bind both of them to counter charge or soul charge 1. Those are all of my grade zeros. Going into the grade 1s, I play 3 copies of the Perfect Guard Hope Keeper. Now, you may be asking why I play 3, but she's searchable, and you'll see why throughout the entire deck profile. But her ability is when she's placed on rear guard, she gains 2k, making her 8k booster. But then she also, just like the stand trigger, she has the Brave red text, meaning when you place her while you're in Brave, you can activate this ability after the fact of you having more cards in your hand. You get the counterblast one and then return her back to the hand. So if you're forced to even play this, you're not really losing out on your PG because it returns to your hand at the end of the turn. And next I play 4 copies of Sonigo. This is your main counter charger. Unfortunately, he does not have the Brave red text, so for you to activate it at the end turn, you must be in Braves. But he's a good cook. With a sacrifice of himself, he can counter charge 2 and draw you a card. So this is another good draw engine and counter charge engine deck. This is your prevalent grade 1 that you always want to run in your deck. He's a staple because he without any counterblast, this deck dies out. And then for my tech option, my last grade 1, I run 4 copies of Power Charge Knight. Now, I think at the time, I believe I'm the only person who ran this card back in GR, because I've seen a lot of other deck profiles. No one ever ran this card, which I don't know why. He enables your Brave on GB1. You retire him, bind as many cards as you want out of your hand. You can bind your entire hand. So you're immediately into Brave. He is the Selfish, a grade 1 Selfish. But at the end of the turn, just like Selfish, you gain all the cards that you bound back at the end of the turn, and you get to replace them by drawing 1 card. There's no bad side to this card. And he's also searchable by another card, which is coming within the grade 2s. So going to the grade 2s now, I play 4 copies of Peerless Knight Leverote. He's your Brave grade 2 Superior Caller. When you're in Brave and your Vanguard is a Brave unit, you can swing, counterblast 1, Superior Caller grade 2 Brave unit. Simple as that. Then we're going to go to 4 copies of Counter Offensive Knight Solomon. He's your other Superior Calling unit. Counterblast 1, ditch a card from your hand, Superior Call a grade 2, give that unit 2k. So this is how you can teeter back between himself and Leverote, going back and forth. The final grade, I run 3 copies of Knight of Appellant's Redon. This is your boost. This is your front row 3k unit to add some more power to this deck. That's the one thing this deck was lacking, was any powerful columns because you weren't gaining enough power through other cards through themselves. Most of these cards gain their power through the Vanguard. In addition to that, if you were to call him through an ability when he had Altmile Vanguard, you can ditch one card and he gains the boost ability. And then for my last grade 3 tech option would be Sage of Salvation Benon, the original one. When plays Counterblast 1, Superior Call a unit with 6k power. That's the reason why we play Power Charge Knight and Hope Keeper. They're both 6k units. They can be called out through Benon's ability. But they have to be called in the same column, so that's why we were able to get these off so many times. And then we're going into the grade 3s. I run 4 copies of Pictus. If you watch my original video, you'll see why I run Pictus. This allows me to constantly always have my Altmile on Vanguard Circle, no matter where. No matter if I have him in hand, I can't get an Altmile to the hand. No matter what happens, I'll always have an Altmile to the hand. And his own Brave abilities, at the beginning of the battle step, he gains 5k, so he's a 16k beater on his own. And it's always a good card, good consistency card. And then I run 4 copies of the new Altmile, Higher DD Knight Altmile. When placed or when you stride, Soul Blast 1 Brave unit, Superior Call a Brave unit from the deck. And then his GB2 is Brave. He gains 5k and an extra critical, so he can be a 16k beater with an extra crit on Rearguard or Vanguard Circle by himself. So he's a good all-around card. In my opinion, he should have been the first. This skill should have been the first original Blue Sky Knight skill, because the original All-My deck was about Superior Calling from the deck, not having less cards in hand. When the original Blue Sky Knight minus cards in hand to gain power on the field, those two abilities should have been switched. Brave would have been a lot better, a lot easier if we had Blue Sky Knight Altmile's ability along with the Generation Break 2 skill of this card. Then that's it from the main deck. We're gonna go into the G Zone. Play 1 copy of Veil Scarred Staff Andros. This is just a flip fodder for Holy Beast Divine Masco. 10 flip another G unit. If you have 1 grade 2 on the field, which you always should have, gain 10k to the shield. I play 2 copies of Ingrain. All around good defense. Can get your Altmile defense all the way up to 41 if you're in Brave and activate her ability. I play 1 Progenitor. This is just a holder for Ultima until I get him. But this is for the memes. This card works very well within the Royal Paladin clan. I believe that's one of the only clans that is actually permanently to work well with. I play 1 copy of Holy Dragon, Brave Lancer Dragon, just to gain extra swings if I'm able to. I play 2 copies of Luminous Hope Dragon, just to simplify the fact that when I get him off, he's swinging with a crit. That's a Vanguard with a crit. And then he gains an additional 10k for every copy of himself in there. 10k is all you need, especially with these new triggers running around. I play 3 copies of Saint Swords. This is just a win button. Once you get into the late game and then you know their hand is low and your G zone is stacked, this is just a win button. And then here is one of the more stable cards, allowing your opponent to get those less cards in hand towards the end of the game, because they have to guard more whenever your Brave unit swings. This is Immortal Holy Sword Fetus. Counterblast 1, flip over a card in your G zone. All of your Brave units gain the ability when they swing at the Vanguard, regardless of what their power level is, they will hit the Vanguard. And when your opponent, if your opponent has 1 or less Guardians in the G zone, so permanently they have to guard with 2 or more cards every time one of your Brave units swings, or they will be taking a damage. And then he has a GB4 skill that when he swings, you can superior haul up to 3 cards from your deck, no matter what they are. So that's just like Brave Lancer Dragon. That's just like Brave Lancer Dragon, but more beefed up, because now they have to guard the attacks. So that's basically the deck build for my deck build for Brave. It worked pretty well during the year, but like I said, the only problem with this deck was it wasn't gaining enough power in its columns to actually do anything if your opponent hit a few damage triggers. And especially now, since our trigger values are a lot higher, it's going to be even harder for you to do any type of permanent damage to your opponent, because at least one damage trigger will stop your play. That's why I'm looking forward to the new V-Era Altmile to see what changes happen to this deck. If you like it, please leave a comment, subscribe down below. This channel is very small, but it is building fast for where I will have more videos out, some battles, so you can actually see what these decks that I'm posting can actually do. But until then, see you later.